Don't you crack it, don't you crack it, sit there. Don't you crack it, baby, don't you crack it, sit there. Don't you crack it, don't you crack it, sit there. Don't you crack it, don't you crack it, sit there. Don't you crack it, don't you crack it, sit there. Don't you crack it, don't you crack it, sit there. Don't you crack it, don't you crack it, sit there. Don't you crack it, don't you crack it, sit there. All out of breath and out of time. We're feeling the grind. You spend your weekend in a line, just freaking grind. Come on and take a little ride. We'll reach for the sky. Tell Uncle Misery goodbye. With breezing style.
All right, George Benson and Al Jarreau.
Tasty.
That album was recorded at a friend of mine's studio in Chandler, Arizona, which is where I live. Kind of neat to hear Al Jarreau add some lyrics and sing over a pretty famous instrumental. And speaking of George Benson, what's this I hear?
Give me the night. Give me the night. Go, 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 go. Give me the night. Go, 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 shorty. It's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip Bacardi like it's your birthday. And you know we don't give up, cause that's your birthday. You can find me in the club.
Okay, so the word on the street is that someone in this room has a birthday on January 22nd.
That's right.
Last time we all got together after our infamous Oreo milkshake dinner, as we were returning to finish up recording for the day, Olivia saw a car down in the parking garage that reminded her of Peter Sellers.
Aw.
She mentioned he was one of her favorite actors, if not
He
the
is.
best.
He's a genius.
So I take it you never got a chance to make a film with him, is that right?
No, but my father got to do the soundtrack for Girl in My Soup with he and Goldie Hawn. So I kind of feel like I lived vicariously through that.
Well, speaking of living vicariously.
Oh, snap. Oh, my God. Wait, what?
Today's topic is Olivia's birthday present.
This is amazing.
Okay.
Wait, this is a picture of... I don't know how you've superimposed me with Peter Sellers, but it's amazing. I mean,
Okay.
God, thank you. This is incredible. This is me in Greedy with that mesh outfit on in a pool with Peter Sellers. Me.
This was
embraced with Peter Sellers in a car with Peter Sellers. Oh, looking at him. Mm-hmm. Well, he's on the inside of a car. However you've done this whole thing, it looks like it's been done with a lot of thought and effort. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm going to explain the history of that picture, and then our topic today is just going to be a general discussion of general creativity. But basically what happened is I thought, well, it would be kind of cool. I mean, he died like in the 70s. So
I love him.
Right. That's what you had said. And I remembered you saying that. I thought, well, what if I could like Photoshop her together to look like they made a movie together? Here's the thing. I have no skill at this at all. I have no ability whatsoever. So what I did was I thought, I can pitch the idea to an artist. And, I asked around, but nobody really knew. So basically...
Oh, I'm so touched. Thank you.
There's a website called outsource.com.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I just posted this as a project. I said what I wanted. I didn't mention you by name.
Right.
I just kind of described the basic idea, and what they do is they bid like a dollar amount or whatever. So before too long, 15 to 20 people said, yeah, okay, and so they're pitching all these different prices. But so the artist I ended up hiring, her name is Paula Brewer. She's in New York. I picked her because she seemed to be really the most interested in doing it, most enthusiasm for it, and also because she is reasonably priced.
Yeah.
So this was a collaboration between the two of us. I mean, the part I'll take credit for was the original idea, and the idea of I didn't want it to just be one image. I wanted it to be some type of collage.
Yeah, it is. That's what's so beautiful about it.
So the two of us talked about it. I just grabbed a bunch of pictures off the internet of Peter Sellers in a view, and she did the same, and then
Wow.
The film stripping was her idea.
That's so cool.
And then I printed it in Phoenix and had it framed and everything. That's kind of another story. But
Oh my God, thank you so much.
yeah, so it's meant to be whimsical and everything.
It is.
I'll obviously post an image of it on our Facebook group so people can see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
One of
You must.
The frame here, it just
frame is great.
reminded me of like silent film houses.
Yeah,
I think a
absolutely.
movie is kind of ornate. And then the person in Phoenix had the idea who actually framed it. It's museum glass, so it's not reflective. That's why it doesn't look like there's even any glass there. So
I think it's so cool.
oh, good.
I love it.
Hang it up on the wall and think of the podcast
Yeah, I
January
wish
22nd,
that everybody
2016.
could. Well, they will get to see it, but it's really astoundingly unique.
Right. So I want to thank Paula Brewer for doing that.
Thank you, Paula.
And also, anybody listening, if you have a grandparent, like last week's theme, who loves, I don't know, Bela Lugosi or something, I mean, there's nothing to stop Paula for doing this for other people. It's kind of a cool, unique gift idea.
Yep.
So if you want to mash two people together or more, I mean, put a picture of yourself playing with the Beatles or something. I mean, get in touch with me and I'll get everybody in touch with her. So I wanted to talk about our experiences with creative inspiration.
Cool.
One more thing on that. I mean, basically, she sent me some stuff, and I would say, move this over here. I like this. I don't like that. So basically, what you see there, she's largely responsible for. She did the actual work. I just kind of pitched the idea, and then we worked together.
That's from Psych, right?
I don't even know.
Oh, there goes the car.
We got a car, not a siren,
We got
but
a
a car.
car. It's
Use
a
it.
sign.
Like, that's from Psych. Honk. So, it's funny, like when you say honk for cookies, or somebody out there heard you.
Exactly.
That
They're
was
like,
their yes.
yeah, that's right.
That's from Psych. Honk. One thing that occurs to me is I've written probably hundreds of songs or pieces of music. I don't think I've ever consciously sat down to do it. It always just sort of happens,
Yeah.
There's a moment of inspiration. And one of the problems is it doesn't always happen at an opportune moment. Like so many times I'd be like on the way to work, get a great idea, know that if I don't flesh it out at that moment, I'm going to lose it.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I was in the piano labs at Sacramento City College and I had a speech class coming up and I just had a great idea for a song. I thought, I'm cutting this class. This song is worth working on. I skipped the class. I think I still got an A in the class, or probably a B anyways, but I still play that song now. So, obviously you're a songwriter, and are you just playing the instrument and you catch yourself writing something, or do you have an idea in your head and think, I've got to go? Okay. I know a lot of people, they get out the staff paper and write notes down. I've never done that.
Yeah, no, those are the really smart people, because in that way they'll never lose it. But I think for those of us who don't do that, a tape recorder is incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
And then some people, like I've had dreams where I dream songs. I mean, there's a song playing in my dream that I'm playing, and so then, if you're lucky enough, you wake up and you can go straight to the piano or the guitar and just start playing it. Those are the ones that are really, really special, I think, if they come into your dreams. And then with the tape recorder that I carry around with me, like a lot of times, because it's just dependent on like whether the impetus of a song comes from a melody or chords that are in your head. But if it's a melody, you can just start singing it while you're in the car. Sometimes it all comes at once.
Keith Richards wrote the riff for dun dun da 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 da. It was sort of like in a dazed stupor, like he was in bed, had a tape recorder, like you mentioned, either sang it or played it into it, went back to sleep and forgot all about it. Hit play the next morning, goes, "What's this?"
Yeah.
Oh, I wrote that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Can't get no satisfaction.
Yeah,
Nice break.
I always encourage people, who are musically inclined and they're in a writing space or not in a writing space, that if you get an idea, especially if you've been blocked for months and months and months, no matter how late it is at night, and you say, I can't bloody be bothered. Just if you have a way to record it, just do it before you go to bed, even if you're really thoroughly exhausted, just because it's just worth it, because you'll never be disappointed when you wake up in the morning. And it's like a gift. It's like, remember last night? This is even if you didn't think much of it at the time, you wake up and it's just like somebody handing you a gift, because you can then go and take it into your day and continue to write with it.
Yeah, I've interviewed an artist named Cersei Link on my other show, and she started writing songs that way. She wasn't even a musician. In her dreams, she kept writing songs, and then it took off from there. And I went on the tangent of Cersei, made me forget the other thing I was going to say. Let me think.
I like your gloves.
My compression.
That's so cool. I love that you've cut them off at the knuckles. That's
Well,
pretty badass, Dan.
Wow.
Are you turning into a badass? Like, while you know...
Turning into? What do you mean?
I mean, you are.
You didn't get that vibe from me from day
well,
one?
I mean, you are a badass, but I mean, you're even more of a badass today.
Yes, well, you know, I shouldn't have let... I love you, Cersei, but I shouldn't let her jump to the forefront of my mind because the real point I wanted
I'm
to
just
make...
trying to make you remember your thought, because sometimes if you take the edge off having to think about it, it comes back.
Yeah, it will come back.
You kind of digress, and then you go back into the groove.
Yeah, I won't try and remember it, and I will. It was well, why don't you scroll back to what you were saying, and then
About-
I'll have the same thought.
Are your
again.
badass gloves?
No, prior to that. Prior to that. Well, we have an episode title for this one, Badass Gloves.
Yeah, no, you look like you're out of, sort of like, what's it called, a West Side Story, like you're, you're one of the Jets.
That's me. No, 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 no.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dang it. I feel like Lionel Stannard in Last Good Time. I'm going to mention that every episode.
Nice save.
Because he had Alzheimer's.
You're just buying time to remember
No,
what you
because he was
really
an
wanted to say.
Alzheimer's payment. I thought I was going to say this one thing, but let me quickly mention this thing about Cersei Link. And then
Okay.
I said Cersei Link, and then I forgot the other thing.
It's okay. Oh! You need an Oreo shake. Or a Red Bull or something. Something. You need something right about
Something
now.
besides the agua. You know, it was a rainy night in Los Angeles.
It
tonight.
was.
We
Did you
didn't hit
drop?
our-
Did you fall in a puddle?
We didn't hit our heads this time, but we did have rain-related delays.
Oh
and
my
stuff.
God, it was so rainy. The 101 was like completely stopped, like
I
a
know.
parking lot.
That sucked. And before we actually started doing the show, when we met to discuss the show, it was a rainy day. Remember?
Yeah.
And I got a parking ticket too.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, on a Saturday night in Studio City, California, they still want you to put money in the meter. I don't think there's any other city that has that requirement. So this is a total digression and tangent, but
Yeah.
we sat down. I don't know. We both had trouble getting there because of the rain, and then we sat down. Olivia had a bowl of soup. I had some kind of drink. We talked about various things. Next thing we knew, it's like 11 o'clock at night or something.
Yeah.
But you would leave every once in a while. I thought you were going to the bathroom, but you're feeding your meter.
I was.
I didn't know.
I know.
So I have a premium.
Does she have a colossal bag?
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but now I'm wondering. So I go out and I get, how can there be a park? First I thought it was like a flyer for, come see our band or something. I mean, this is a parking ticket. There's a rental car.
Yeah.
Let's just stay on this track.
Yeah.
I thought, it's a rental car. They don't have my name. Maybe the rental car has a budget for this. When they get, a parking ticket, they just pay it and I'll never hear about it again. No, however many weeks or months later, we noticed that you got a parking ticket when you were driving our car. Here's the address where you can send your payment. All right.
Yeah.
So everybody out there, if you're in a rental car and you get a parking ticket, don't think it's going to go away. It's going to come back and bite you. I think
Okay.
it was like $60, $70 I had to pay, $68 or something.
So the initial point of your topic was inspiration and where one finds inspiration. It's not a too dissimilar topic from what I'm going to do next. So I feel like it'll kind of, blend in nicely. But do you have anything more to say on that?
I better
Having
have
dreams.
I better have 7 minutes worth of stuff to say because we
Okay.
can't bring Tom in until 20. That's why it's
Right.
not called Tom
Oh,
at 19.
I see. Yes. Well, okay.
That's-
So do you remember what you're going to say?
I'll remember it 14 seconds after we hit stop when we finish this thing.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't remember what I was going to say. But as I said before, I would get an idea to write something. Oh, I remember. Everybody. Hey! It was Jaco Pastorius.
Yes, love him, the best player.
He's
on the
being
face of the
spoken about very much
Ever.
right now. What he said was, when he writes something, he deliberately does not write it down. He sleeps on it, and the next morning, if he can't remember it, he figures it wasn't worth remembering.
Right.
And if he can, then he'll continue to work on it. So his little thing was to make a point of not writing it down, just to see if it would stay with him.
Well, that's okay for him because he was like an idiot savant genius.
Yeah, I'm not
it's
saying
like
everybody
he
should do
was-
that, but
he didn't have a lack of.
I just saw a little Facebook thing. Somebody said, "Oh, there's Jaco talking about to students," and that was one of the things he had said. I actually am similar in that regard because I've never written lyrics. I've written down, but musical ideas. If I'm writing something, I'll play through it. Okay, I got it now, and then whenever I play it in the future, I still have it. And if I can't remember it all, or I've flubbed through a certain part of it, then that's an indication to me that it might not be quote unquote worthy. But you know what I think I will do? We'll bring Tom in after the song because you mentioned being blocked. And that pertains to the closing song, and I have a little bit to say about it. So Donald Fagen claimed.
Yeah.
Donald Fagen claimed to suffer from writer's block during the gap between his first and second solo albums, The Nightfly and Kamakiriad. I suffered from writer's block. I think what he meant was he was still able to write things, but just not up to his usual standards. When Mark Bonilla was on my other show, he had an interesting observation about writer's block. He said that if you believe that this is coming from you, then that makes it a finite source. But if you think it's coming from outside of you, then it's infinite. And writer's block can't exist. Another thing I like about that idea is that it takes the pressure off, because you can say, I haven't got it today. Hey, it ain't my fault. It's not coming from me. I'm channeling it. Now, another of my past guests from the Friends of Dan Music podcast actually wrote a song called Writer's Block, which is our feature tune. Most people probably know him as the drummer on NBC's The Voice. His name is Nate Morton. But in 2006, he released a solo album called Playground Philosophy under the alias Duty Bug. We're going to listen to this song. I emailed him and asked him about the song, and he sent me a nice chunky paragraph about it, which I'll discuss after we've heard it, and we'll also get Tom's take on it. So let's listen to Nate Morton, a.k.a. Duty Bug, with a song about and called Writer's Block.
You know what? It's like this sometimes. Hey. I have to write a couple of rhymes, but it don't come quite so easy all the time. I'm sitting in my room now, try to write a funky rhyme, create a snappy metaphor just to pass the time. Hey, but sometimes now the words don't seem to come out right, and everything on the paper just seems so damn trite. I wanna be clever, I wanna figure it out, looking for some shelter, I'm trying to find some lyrical clout. But sometimes it be doo-doo, sometimes it be doo-doo, but doodly-dip stoop state I, sometimes it be doo-doo. Hey, well, sometimes it be doo-doo. Well, I say, you know what? Sometimes it be doo-doo, but sometimes it's not. And I come up with a catchy storyline, but this isn't one of those times. I'm just putting words on the page. If my mood was a color, it'd be beige. Cage me in this room made of writer's blocks, and it don't stop, and it won't rock, because it's doo-doo. Sometimes it be doo-doo. No matter how hard I try, sometimes it be doo-doo. I'm a drummer anyway, what am I doing writing songs? Because sometimes it be doo-doo. Wish I could be profound, like Keats or LL Cool J. Maybe visit Barnes & Noble, pick up a copy of The Artist Way. Would that give me direction? Tell me how to write things that ring true. If honesty is what you're looking for, truth is, sometimes it just be doo-doo. Oh, sometimes it be doo-doo. Do-do-do, still about doo-doo. Hey. Wow. Sometimes it be oh, do-do-do-do-do. Well, you know, sometimes it just be do-do, no matter how hard you work at it, baby. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Ah, do-do-do-do-do-do. Ah, do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Ah, do-do-do-do-do-do. Ah,
I love it.
Yes. A very talented dude, a very funny dude, and an amazing drummer.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best drummers in the world. Lee Sklar told me about Nate. Think about what they do on The Voice. I mean, whatever people may think about the competitive aspect, that band has to play every song, every night, and very often live, and they're flawless. Nate says his favorite line in there is the one about being profound like Keats or LL Cool J. I like where he says if he says something about the page, if my mood was a color, it'd be beige.
Yeah.
But what he said was, what happened is he has a friend named Sean Halley who doesn't play the drums, who plays everything else. He sent him a chunk of that track and had the doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo. And so that was it. Just like a backing part. And Nate wrote the part about it's doo-doo, meaning he sounded like his friend singing about poop now, right? And so that was the original idea. And then what's doo-doo? And then he backtracked to write it about writer's block just to make the song make sense. So he kind of didn't... I mean, when I first heard it, I thought, this sounds like a guy who's trying to write a song, isn't really working, so he's writing a song about not being able to write a song.
Right.
Really, it all came from doo-doo. So I think it's time for...
And now it is time for Tom at 20.
Tom at 20.
Pretty close, 22-19 by my calculation.
22-19. It's like the James at 16, James at 17.
Right.
It's like time lapse photography, but it's audio.
Well, you are also a songwriter, a creative guy. But before we get to that, do you like Olivia's picture?
I dig the picture.
I love it.
I think it's great.
I wanted to give her a unique birthday present. I think I accomplished that.
So you certainly, I mean, I'm still dumbfounded, gobsmacked. As Emma Thompson would say, I'm absolutely gobsmacked.
Well, one reason I did it is I know when she mentioned Peter Sellers, she probably figured it would go in Dan's ear and out the other. And so I said, this not only shows I remember
yeah,
the
you're
same...
like, you have an incredible memory. Did you buy me that car as well?
She says I have a incredible memory on the episode where I spent 15 minutes trying to remember Jaco Pastorius.
Yes, that was very meta. This thing about creativity and writer's block and inspiration, and I can't remember what I was going to say. Damn it.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
It's almost like he planned it that way.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yes.
infectious. The theme is infectious.
Well, Nate Morton, man, he's a cool dude. I mean, the rest of his album is so eclectic. I mean, everybody go to the Nate Morton episode of the Friends Dan Music Podcast. We talked a whole lot about his drumming job on The Voice, and we talked about that Playground Philosophy album, which is awesome. Very good dude. I like to get him on this show. He's cool.
Let's do
The
it.
doo-doo-doos were great. I wonder how many songs... end up using placeholder lyrics. You know what that's like. You have like the melody, but you're not quite sure what the words are going to be, so you just kind of go na 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 na, and then that stays.
It is
Yeah,
so
yeah,
ironic
yeah,
that you
yeah.
say that. In my original draft of this episode, I was going to have a clip I have, and I can still toss in at the end if we want, of Michael Jackson doing Billie Jean at a point where he had the chorus, but he didn't have the
Really?
the verse. We have to do it now. We'll end with that.
Cool.
He had the feel and the melody, but he didn't know what the words were yet on the verses. Then he gets to the chorus, Billie Jean is not my lover. I had it in here, but I thought with all the other stuff going on, and then you bring that up. You know what I think of is Susu Studio.
Yeah.
And what you always do is they always do on these situations where you can't find anything better. We'll make it a girl's name.
Yeah, well, it's not even a real. It's not even a real name. It's not even a real word. Susudio. It was just the syllables that came to his head at the time.
Studio. Well, let's just say it's a girl's name. Done. Studio's the name of the song.
Exactly.
That's the one that comes to mind.
And that happens a lot when I'm writing, and especially when I'm writing with a partner. I've had a lot of things passed to me where the guy's like, well, right here it just goes na 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 na, but we'll figure something out for it later. I'm like, no, keep the na 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 na.
Exactly.
I'm a sucker for that kind of rock and roll sing along.
Work for Hey Jude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Also, Jaco Pastorius, your story about him that like, well, if the idea wasn't good enough, then I probably won't remember it. Well, thanks, pal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when you're a super genius who has like 1,000 of those ideas a day, it's check your talent privilege there, Jaco.
Exactly. And while you're at it, not everybody has the bone structure that you do, Jaco. It has the luck of looking Native American as well as has blue eyes and looks kind of Italian, Mediterranean. I mean, he just had it all. What did that guy not have?
He was from everywhere.
Then he had twins.
Also, I want to say that I'm really happy that The Last Good Time is now the whole high of every Friday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna squeeze in a reference to it. Well, Adrian Pazdar is the guy who was beating you up, and he's another one like Ethan Hawke. I need to kick his ass too. People know him kind of from Heroes.
Yeah.
He was most of you guys yelled at each other on camera, and then off camera one time he just beat the crap out of you. Not cool. But
To me, Adrian Pazdar is all about profit.
Yeah.
Right. He's in other things too. And doesn't he do a lot of cartoons and voiceovers also?
Very possibly. A lot of actors do.
Well, you guys talk among yourselves because I am emailing Tom Bowers the Michael Jackson Billie Jean demo. Right now.
Okay.
Oh, you think it's going to get done live as we do the show? That I'm gonna be able to pull that down, put it in the sound file, and then play it as we're going.
Well,
out
you know,
here.
I'm sure somewhere on your board over there's the pause button.
It's funny that you think I have like these incredible superpowers that I can just sort of do that.
I know for a fact.
Really
that
kind of.
Yeah.
We've already witnessed it tonight.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah, I like your whole new approach to radio, Dan, this week. Well, you're much more relaxed, but you got to have a balance. Don't reel it back too much.
Well, saying I'm much more relaxed implies in the past I was not relaxed. Was I not relaxed?
No.
You tend to your email, sir.
You're multitasking on air. I love it.
I've only ever had the dream thing happen once successfully.
Really?
I mean, I've dreamed lots of ideas, but I'll wake up in the middle of the night and have a tape recorder and I'll into it, and then the next morning be like, oh, what the hell was I thinking? This is garbage.
Well, of course, that happens all the time, too. Paul McCartney said the first time they all smoked pot, the famous time with Bob Dylan, he thought he had all these great revelations, and he wrote something down on a piece of paper, gave it to Mal Evans, and said, don't lose this. And a week later, Mal goes, I got that piece of paper. And McCartney goes, what piece of paper?
Really?
And so he opens it up, and you know what it said on it? There are 7 levels.
Really?
Really?
And now I want to rip that off for my own song, except someone probably already has.
What a fortune cookie.
Cool. Well, we're at 28 minutes, and I'm ready to hear Michael Jackson fumble his way through a very famous song because it's so ironic that I thought I'd do it, I thought I wouldn't, and then Tom sort of, the three of us are sort of tuned in a certain regard. That's why this is such a hit show, he said optimistically.
Turning into Three's Company.
Oh, I want to be Mr. Furley.
Yeah.
You guys have
And I want to be Mrs. Roper.
He did it. He's got it.
More kicking stuff in the phones. I need it. More bottom and kick in the phones. Hello, oh, then I'm done. Gotta say, gotta go, gotta ride. It seems that you don't believe how they gotta make. Oh, but say, and I care what you do, care what you do. But I gotta do, Billie Jean's not my love. She's just a girl that says that I'm the one. You know, the kid is not my son. Hey, hey, hey. Billie Jean's not my love. She's just a girl that says that I'm the one. You know, the kid is not my son. She says I am the one, oh no, the kid is not my son.
So what do you guys think about that?
I think I just think that's, first of all, how did you find that? That's just, it's amazing. That's just been in some vault somewhere.
I found it in a mom and pop store right next to Last Good Time. It was right next to it.
Yeah, it's pulling my way.
That is available someplace. If some reissue of Thriller came out, like
right.
there's a Michael Cimbello song that didn't get put on the album. There's different things, and that was just one of the things on there. I've got something else I'm going to play later. Is actually the Vincent Price voiceover session for Thriller.
Really?
Yeah. But this was just related. And I just thought, man, it's just maybe one thing too much. We don't want to break in the middle of the conversation and listen to that. But
It was worthy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Totally. You mentioned a couple episodes ago we were talking about Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
And is there anyone who compares to him? I think Michael Jackson comes awfully close.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, definitely is a multi-talented anomaly. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
good comparison.
Yeah.
So on that thought, as we all have that in our brain, we will say goodbye to Olivia's birthday. Happy birthday once again.
Thank you.
January
Happy birthday.
22nd. And we will see you on what's 22 plus 7? January 29th. Bye-bye.